Hey guys and gals, James Stacey here with aBlogtoWatch.com for another video review, and today we're taking a look at the decidedly old school Oris Divers 65. I just got back from a trip to Mexico where I took this awesome little watch diving, so let's dig right in. You've got a 40mm wide steel case, 12.8mm thick, 48mm lug to lug, making for a very wearable package, 20mm lug spacing for the strap. It's a black plated dive bezel, a double domed sapphire crystal with AR, meant to look like an old acrylic crystal. Screw down crown ensuring 100 meters water resistance. Super luminova lume all around, so those funky markers are fully lumed. And you have a rubber strap. Total weight, including the rubber strap, is a amazingly manageable 76 grams. Really a treat to wear, very fun, very vacation ready sort of watch. So obviously there's a huge trend in watchmaking these days to make references to your past, and while I think the kind of vintage inspired trend might be a little played out at times, it doesn't mean that there's not room in the market for a really good example, and I think that's what we're seeing here with this Oris. It's a little bit bigger than the reference that they used originally, which I think was 36 or 38 millimeters. I did get to see that watch at Basel. Also a cool design. This is the one I would have. So wearable, such a nice case design, really wearable shape, great strap. You get this mega cool bubble domed crystal, so you get a curve on the inside which gives the entire dial a really aggressive magnification that I find charming, especially around the edges where you get the most reflections. I'm not going to go to any length to minimize the reflections in this video. I think that's just how it looks in real life. And I think it's part of the charm of the watch. If this is something that you're looking to buy, you're going to have to get used to the reflections. While the crystal is AR coated, its shape just means that it's going to catch reflections. A flat crystal will prevent as much, and a domed crystal will attract reflections. It's just the way that it is. Underneath that crystal and making the most of that magnification is the 12, 3, 6, and 9 marker design, which is pulled directly from the original model. I think just looks so cool, and that's fully lumed. I'm going to show you the lume in a moment. It's a really, really cool piece, and it looked great underwater. The domed crystal gave you such an aggressive angle with which to see it, and I'll be sure to show some clips of that as we move through the review. Great ergonomics on this piece, like I mentioned. You get a nice, open to grip crown. Really nicely implemented here. And a piece of cake to screw down. You get 100 meters water resistance, as I said at the start, which is something I actually tested, granted only to maybe about 20-25 meters, in some nice warm Mexican water in the Pacific. And I know a lot of people, when I mention that you can take a dive watch that's good for 100 meters, they say, oh, 100 meters is enough to go diving, it should be more. That's just not true. First of all, recreational diving, the sort of diving that I do, really tops out at about 40 meters. So anything that'll take you further than that is going to be overkill, certainly. And dive watches are pretty much required to be overkill. But Oris is not messing around when it comes to dive watch design. They make some wonderfully hardcore dive watches. And there's no doubt that all of that knowledge factored into the design of the 65. If it's water resistance to 100 meter, that's how far you can take it. And that's way more than I need. It was a real treat to use underwater. The bezel is really nice. It has this nice jimping on the edge. Very light, very clicky action. Really easy to use. And one that I found a treat to wear underwater. Rubber strap is great. Every day of the week, on vacation, diving. Works for all of it. It's kind of a mock tropic, which I really like. I think it looks super cool. The total package is really nice. It's dive ready, certainly everyday ready. I think you could wear this to the office in most cases. It's going to look great on a brown or a black leather strap. It's just a killer design, which means it's flexible when it comes to watch design. Flexible, legible, and it really is successful in porting that original design to a new watch. So ticking within the Oris Divers 65 is the Oris 733 caliber, which is essentially a Sellita SW200. The SW200 is Sellita's competition for a 2824 For those of you who aren't necessarily into movements, the Solita movement is a nice Swiss movement. It will keep very accurate time. It'll be very cheap to service over the life of the watch, and it's a perfectly fitting movement for a watch in this price point. 38-hour power reserve, 4 Hertz, 26 joules, and you get a date at 6 o'clock, which I'll show you a macro of. Really nicely implemented as far as date designs go. I am not one for date windows at all. Just leave them out if you can't get it right, but in this case I think they got it right, and kind of completes the package. It is nice to have a date when it can be done properly. So I can make all the claims that I want about the Oris 65's diving intentions. No dive watch is better than its bezel or its lume. So let's take a look at some lume. As you can see here, it's bright, crisp, super luminova. It glows with a green hue. It's really nice. It's nice and bright. It lasts quite a while. Perfectly usable. Charges nicely in the sun. The markers are nice and large. The hands have a nice application, so you get plenty of lume. Perfect for what you need for a diver. The bezel is not lumed here, but of course you do get a pip at 12. So here's the 65 on wrist, and on my 6.5 pushing 7-inch wrist, it's really hard to argue with this size. Yeah, 12.8 millimeters is a little thick, but a big piece of that is crystal. It's sapphire, so I wouldn't worry too much about scratches. The crystal looks so cool, especially as the watch turns and catches light. The sizing is just right. The strap is super comfortable. Easy to wear. You know, I wore this on some very hot days. I got some sand in it. I got lots of salt water on it. The strap held up nicely. I like a nice kind of tropic style rubber strap, and Oris has really cornered the market here because this strap would work on all sorts of watches, and I have no idea if they're selling it separately. But it is a really cool strap, and it works perfectly on the 65. Basically what you're looking at here is $1,850, so $1,850 as seen here, and what you're getting is solid vintage style, Swiss Oris quality at an accessible price. It's going to be fairly hard to find something this cool from a known brand, and I think there is a cool factor to the 65 that doesn't apply to all of its peers at the, say, roughly $1,500 to $2,000 price point. This watch just kind of exudes cool. I really like the look. I love the way it feels. It's very wearable. It's also quite capable, and it's nicely made. It's hard to argue with that sort of packaging, but it is the sort of thing that Oris is good at. They certainly have a lot of knowledge when it comes to dive watches, and I think they've got a winner on their hands with the 65. If you like these videos, please click the like button, let us know in the comments, and be sure to swing by aBlogtoWatch.com soon for my full review. Thanks very much for watching.